Welcome to AI in Real Life, Real Talk with Real Experts, an effort for the AI Institute for Societal Decision Making. In this podcast, we dive deep into how artificial intelligence shapes our world and everyday decisions. I'm Katie, the host of this podcast and an undergraduate at Carnegie Mellon University. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Professor Rebecca Nugent, the Education Outreach Lead of AI-SDM, Department Head, and Stephen E. and Joyce Feinberg Professor for the Statistics and Data Science Department at Carnegie Mellon University. Rebecca, it's an honor to have you with us today. Could you briefly introduce yourself and your current role as a department head and a member of the leadership team at AI-SDM?
Well, thank you so much, Katie. It's such an honor to be here today. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It's a real pleasure to come and talk about all of the amazing outreach and education work that we're doing here at AI-SDM. So as you said, my name is Rebecca Nugent. I'm the head of the Department of Statistics and Data Science at Carnegie Mellon, and I have a long history of building educational programs and workforce outreach initiatives, and that is my job as part of AI-SDM. It is a multi-prong initiative. We have, of course, people working in research, and we have people working in developing tools and methods and applications for public health and disaster management problems most commonly. But it's incredibly important to our AI Institute that we educate the public and kind of disseminate all of the amazing things that AI can do for us in our daily lives. And so we have an entire division in the AI-SDM that focuses on outreach to K through 12, so high school, of course, community colleges, of course, undergraduate level, graduate level, and then also just the general public and the workforce. And that's kind of where we're spending most of our time today.
Got it. Thank you so much. And I actually did some search about your background, your past experience. And I know that you have been working from the industry to nonprofit, the government, and now at CMU with academia.
Yeah.
How has your perspective on AI has changed or developed, and how has that influenced your current role as an outreach lead at AI-SDM?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think when we think about I've been an academic for most of my career, pretty much all of my career. But what I've had the privilege of doing is being at universities that really prioritized taking the research that we develop and interacting with the public, interacting with external partners. So, for example, at Carnegie Mellon, it is very common to bring external partners from for-profits, nonprofits, government agencies, as you said, foundations, you name it. And they come on campus and they interact with our researchers, with our faculty, with our students, et cetera. So one of the things that's been most striking over the last few years is seeing how, while on the academic side of the house, we develop all kinds of amazing tools and algorithms, thinking about statistics, data science, machine learning, robotics, computer science, AI. So these are all things that Carnegie Mellon has been working on for decades. None of this is new to us, and it's certainly not new to the AI-SDM Institute. But what has changed is kind of the public's awareness of all of these tools. It's kind of all over. It's like all over the place, and we're asked about it all the time. So I'll just give you an example. When the current emeritus professors in my department, when they were going through their training, they took their first statistics class when they were in graduate school. When I was going to school, I didn't know you could major in statistics until I got to being an undergraduate student. So now, statistics moved down into undergrad, and now we have students coming. I've got, 10-year-olds visiting campus, right? Telling me they really want to do machine learning and robotics and statistics. And, the idea that statistics and data science and AI and machine learning, these are all words that are all over the place now. And so it's far more common for people to be hearing about them, but also be asking questions about them. where before I think it was just a group of researchers and academics and maybe people working in think tanks or kind of PhD level positions and companies who were thinking about a lot of the research questions that we were working on. Now everybody is thinking about it. And so it's even more important that we spend time educating people on what these tools can do, what they can't do, because they've never had more access to any of this. I mean, we've got people scraping data and downloading packages and using AI on their own, right? Just sitting at home because they're just interested. And that's very unusual about this discipline. I think hopefully we don't have millions of people dissecting frogs in their backyard, doing biology, but we do have millions of people, who are actively looking at data online, using dashboards, working with apps that have like cool algorithms behind them, right? Everyone's doing this. And that's what's really different. So my perspective has changed in the sense that it has become more important to raise the awareness around AI and the related fields. So rather than just creating educational programming that is for the PhD level or for the bachelor's level, for people who are doing degrees in this space, it is crucial that we develop content and programming for anybody and everybody. So when that 10-year-old comes to campus and wants to learn about machine learning and AI, we have content available. When someone is curious about how AI is used in their daily life and they have no experience with it at all, we need to make sure that we are reaching out to those people and explaining how AI can be used in their daily life. I think we are starting to see there was a huge excitement about AI, right? Sort of ChatGPT got released, everyone started like really talking about all of this generative AI. But what we're seeing now is the pendulum's kind of swinging toward adults being more uncomfortable with how AI is used in their daily lives. So I was looking at some numbers and I have them here. I want to make sure I get them correct. But Pew recently did some polling in 2023, and over half of the adults had heard something about AI or had only heard a little bit about AI. So 56% in their 2023 poll had only knew a little bit about AI. And then when they ask questions about, are you concerned or excited about AI? Which one is your kind of emotion when you hear about AI? In 2021, 37% of adults were more concerned than excited. And in 2023, that figure had grown to 53%. So in some ways, AI is more ubiquitous. People know about it, but people are now asking more questions. They're more concerned. They're wondering, how is this going to impact us? And so that's why education and outreach is crucial.
Yeah. The work you just described is impressive and phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of the AI-SDM is doing the outreach and education, is there any preconceived notion of AI that people think they know that's the thing, like AI
Yeah, sure.
is there, how it works, but it's actually making the education more difficult?
Well, yeah, so I've got some opinions about this one. So I think, so Katie, you are too young to remember this, but back in the day, there were the original Terminator movies, and Skynet came and took over the world. And so everybody, when you hear AI, right, people often think of the movies, and they often think of these kind of very dramatic scenarios where robots and such are taking over the world, and we need to rely on the Terminator to save us, et cetera. And those are awesome movies, and everybody should go see the original ones. But so that's a big issue, is that people kind of have this idea about AI replacing them or taking over their control. And in some ways, I think this is actually an advertising problem. The way that we see AI being used in the real world is far more as a tool. It's a tool that people have, and they're so like AI is not telling us what to do. We are using AI, right? Like we are actually in control of AI. It's very much a combination of human in the loop AI, humans using AI as a tool, just like you're going to use a calculator or a software program, just anything. You have control over what you're asking the AI to do and how it helps support you in making decisions. So that's a big thing that we see, that people often are concerned that AI is going to replace them. And that's not really what it is. But we kind of have a saying that it's not as much about AI replacing your job, but that someone will be successful in your job who knows how to use AI. So if you are not as comfortable with the concepts of AI, someone may come along who is, and then they might be a desirable candidate for that position because they're more comfortable. So again, not that you are being replaced by AI, but that people who are a little more comfortable with how all of this works and how it's being used in daily life, those people will have job opportunities, more job opportunities. So we want to help as many people as possible be comfortable with kind of what AI can do, what it's not going to do. So that's kind of that's one thing. The other problem I'll mention is because things have become kind of very easy to use. And what I mean by that is like you can download a package from the internet and you can run algorithms that generate all kinds of answers for you, and you may not have any idea how those algorithms actually worked. Like in some ways, we've made things very like you can download it, you can install it, you can hit go, and it gives you answers. So the concern that we have there is people putting too much trust in those algorithms, that they don't quite understand if those answers are any good. So in that case, people are excited about using AI, but maybe they haven't spent enough time thinking about the results of what they're going to get back, when to trust them, when not to use them, what kinds of questions to ask. And that's the kind of thing we see with using things like ChatGPT, right? So if you just use it to generate some written text, and then you don't look at the text or think about where that text came from, or think about like, how do I want to change my my prompts to ChatGPT so that I can like improve the quality of the answer? If you're not thinking critically about the use of AI, you're not going to get as quality results, right? So those are the two main things that we try to think about. You're not being replaced by AI, and think critically when using AI, right? Don't be passive about it. Be engaged in that process.
Thank you so much for the answer. It's really inspiring.
Yeah.
And then like moving for more a like societal level.
Yeah, sure.
I know like how might the rapid deployment and or development of AI might contribute to widening the socioeconomic gap between the wealth and the underprivileged, and what measures can be taken to ensure a more equitable and access and the benefits.
Yeah, so thank you for asking that, because that is really important, and that is something that at our AI Institute, AI-SDM, we have those conversations quite frequently, particularly because our primary use cases are public health and disaster management, and those are areas that impact all of society, right? Regardless of financial background, economic background, everyone needs to manage their health and their own health as well as public health issues. And of course, when you're faced with a natural disaster, for example, that's going to impact everybody. So it's important to us that we generate solutions that everyone can access, everyone can use, and as you said, that we can make sure that we're reducing inequities. I think one of the things that I get concerned about with the use of these AI frameworks that are developed without kind of much critical thinking about what's actually happening behind the scenes is that people do become a little detached from this AI. So, for example, we could have an incredible app that, well, just think about common apps that people use all the time, right? People use Uber, people use Lyft, people, they do something to buy their groceries, right, and get their groceries delivered. So these are fantastic conveniences, right? They're used by millions. But they still involve humans, right? But it's very easy to kind of think, I'm just going to look at my phone. This is all going to do the work for me. And you don't see the hidden costs, or you don't see the human labor behind the scenes that's like making those algorithms work. So, for example, you don't see the people at the grocery store who are doing their job based on what kind of an algorithm is telling them to do in terms of go get, fill this person's grocery order, then fill this person's, et cetera. You don't really see any of that, right? You sort of are abstracted away from it. And then people who can afford to pay the costs that are associated with using those kinds of convenience apps, I'll call them, they don't see, right? They don't see the labor that's helping them out. So one of the things that I would advocate for is a lot more transparency. I think that most of the AI that's developed, right, the companies have every incentive to kind of hide. And I don't mean hide in a critical way, but not to sort of be fully transparent about all the different pieces that went into making it work, right? Like no one really wants to know how the sausage is made. They just want to see the like really cool app. And of course, the market appreciates that as well. But I think the consumer and the user of that should have some basic understanding of what's actually happening behind the scenes. The transparency will help. It will also help with people who maybe aren't as comfortable using the AI. That'll help kind of allay their comfort too. So then we're trying to address the inequity problem as well as trying to address comfort with AI. But if we focus on technological solutions that are only available to people with the financial resources to avail themselves of, right? Then yeah, we want no part of this. So in some ways, that's why education and outreach is so important. We need to be developing interactive solutions interactive technologies, I'll say, that you don't need a computer science degree, right, to be using any of this, but it has to be understood by somebody who doesn't have that type of degree. It has to be usable. It has to be friendly. It has to be able to be adopted by a consumer. I started by talking about the trust percentages, right? People are concerned. We need to be meeting them there. We need to not give the impression everyone should just learn to love AI like we love AI, expecting everyone to come over to the AI side. It's really important for people working in AI, data science, machine learning, tech, et cetera. We need to go to where the popular public is, right? Where the public is, and make sure they feel comfortable with things and design products for them. I mean, it's, we can build the coolest app and the greatest robot and the most wonderful drone ever. But if nobody's going to use it, then what did we just do, right? So it needs to be very user-driven, very consumer-driven and user-driven, yeah.
Very exciting to hear that
Thanks.
AI-SDM is doing so much work to promote the equity.
Yep.
And lastly, I know that AI-SDM just held its first year annual review over the summer.
Yeah.
And I was curious, looking ahead, what are the key parts of AI-SDM's plan for expanding AI education and outreach in its second year? And how can AI-SDM help shape the next generation of AI professionals and also play a role in helping the public understand AI and decision making?
All right, fabulous. So we have a very exciting year two coming up. We actually were just going over our timeline for year two, and I just thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be the best year ever. Followed by year three, and then year four, and then year five, right, will be even better. So I'm actually going to do a little bit of the second part of your question first. So one of the cool things about our education and outreach component is that we really are spanning the entire pipeline. So as I said earlier, we have projects going in the K through 12 space. So, for example, we have an annual high school educator workshop that's led by some incredible high school teachers at Winchester Thurston here in Pittsburgh, as well as educators at Carnegie Mellon and throughout the rest of AI-SDM, but working to build modules and materials for high school teachers to be able to use in their classrooms to talk about AI, how with case studies, how AI is used in the real world, the ethics, responsible AI, pros and cons, consequences, those types of things. So that's one project that will continue. But we also have projects going with community colleges. And those community colleges, it involves outreach to underserved areas. For example, Native American community colleges that focus more on the Native American population. But we are doing things like building modules that can be deployed across any community college used in their classrooms. So that's something that's ongoing that will be a big focus point in year 2. Another thing we're very excited about in the undergraduate space is that we're developing some minors that are focusing on the use of data and AI and technology in society, and that's open to all sorts of students. It's specifically designed for students from a wide variety of backgrounds, so they don't need to be getting an AI degree, for example, to benefit from that. We also have new graduate degrees that are launching this year, thinking about AI and societal decision-making. We have a unique one launching with our machine learning department at Carnegie Mellon and our social and decision sciences department. So that's really cool. One department's in the School of Computer Science. The other department is in the Dietrich College of Humanities and Social Sciences. And the fact that we're able to pull those together in a joint PhD, the students who go through that program are going to be incredible leaders in this space, being able to think about all aspects of the AI ecosystem. And then we have kind of our workforce and public-facing outreach. One thing we're launching this fall is a series with the Carnegie Libraries. We're doing some open public seminars where we have AI experts come, and anyone's invited. So if you're listening to this, make sure you go to the website and look up when our next seminar is. It's free to the public. I've been talking about how AI is used and thinking about the different questions that we might ask when trying to decide how and when to use AI. And then we also are working with lots of different groups in the public health and disaster space on helping to develop training modules for them as well. So, for example, federal disaster agencies or like public people working in public health, for example, like the American Red Cross, places like that. And in this case, it's mostly about awareness. It's not I want to be very, sort of clear. AI-SDM is not, we want to provide education and outreach to help people learn as much as they want, but we don't believe that everybody should become an AI expert, right? We need experts in every single discipline. That's what actually leads us to a really rich, functioning society, right? That solves problems. So our goal is not to turn people all into AI experts. Our goal is to help them take all of the incredibly valuable content and information that they have. I mean, no one's as smart as people, to be quite honest, right? We have more knowledge and complexity just in our daily responsibilities, our work life. You can think about people who are marketing experts, for example. They're going to know more about marketing than I'll ever know in my life. But we want to take all of that rich content and knowledge that they have and help design an AI tool that uses that knowledge to help them do their jobs better. So it's really about helping people bridge to AI, and that's what AI-SDM is focusing on the most there. So all of our content is about helping people be supported by the use of AI and let them be even more valuable, than they already are.
It's amazing by hearing from all the workshops, degrees. And
yeah, we're busy. We're doing it. And of course, if anybody has any ideas, if you're watching or listening to this podcast and you have any ideas for some content or programming in the AI space that you think would be really useful for your group, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can, our contact information is on the website, and by all means, please reach out.
Yes, speaking of that, we do have a place for the audience to submit questions to our podcast, and then we will actually look at it and then taking any advice if the audience have to our AI-SDM or our podcast.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing your insights and expertise with us. To our listeners, remember that you can dive deeper into these topics by visiting our website at www.cmu.edu/AI-SDM, where you can also submit your questions for future guests. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more in-depth discussions on how AI shapes our society. Join us next time on AI in Real Life for more real talks with real experts. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to having you with us next time on AI in Real Life.